What's up, you ski bums? We're talking about Colorado mountain living today and the 8 things that you have to know if you plan to buy here or live here full time. So let's get right into it. The number one thing that is pretty obvious to us locals here, but might not be obvious to you as a tourist exploring Breckenridge for the first time, is wildlife safety. You're gonna be out skiing, you're gonna be out shredding, you're gonna be out hiking, doing all of the awesome Colorado mountain activities for sure. And you're gonna come across maybe a moose or a mountain goat or maybe a bear, and you just don't know what to do because you've never seen those animals before. Well, I'll tell you right now, I've had some experiences with that in the past. I was up hiking near Blue Lakes in Breckenridge, either Blue Lakes or Mohawk Lakes, and I brought my fly fishing rod with me. I was fly fishing up at the top of the Alpine Lake. Everything was beautiful and serene. My buddy was on the other side of the lake, and he hollers at me and he's like, "Yo, there's a mountain goat behind you." And I look behind me and there's literally a mountain goat like 50 yards away from me, kind of walking towards me, looking at me all peculiar. Now, as a local who understands a little bit about wildlife safety, I looked at the mountain goat and I just slowly backed away because they can be aggressive, not usually, but they can be. Same thing with moose. I've had encounters with moose out in the wild and it's the same exact thing. You basically just want to look them down, slowly walk away, let the animal know that you're there if you end up surprising it. Another great thing that you should carry with you is bear spray, because if you do come up on a bear, bear spray is going to be your best deterrent, either for a bear or a mountain lion or maybe a moose that's charging you. Bear spray will basically spray like a 30-foot long tunnel or trail of pepper spray that will allow you to get the bear either blinded or whatever and keep you safe. So the only thing I would say is that be careful of the wind direction when you go to spray that, because you do not want to get it in your eyes. I've personally never got it in my eyes, thank God. But if that wind is blowing towards you and you spray the bear spray into the wind, that bear spray will come back at you and blind you, rendering you completely useless and in a lot of pain. I've heard many stories of people using that bear spray, getting it in their eyes, and then they're pretty much useless for the next 3 days because their eyes are burning. So be careful, but bear spray can be a great tool to deter wildlife. And again, you're hiking, you're out there, you're enjoying life. Wildlife will come up on you here in Colorado, so it's something to beware. The number 2 thing you got to know is that the weather here is crazy. We get 6 months, sometimes 7 months of winter on average, and I've seen years where we get even 10 to 11 months of winter. So that snow comes in and it can get crazy treacherous. I remember I was heading up to Hot Sulphur Hot Springs to hit the hot springs with the buddies. We soaked for a couple of hours, and by the time we were done, a snow squall came in, and basically the snow was coming in at about 8 inches an hour, and the wind was blowing at about 50 or 60 miles an hour, so the snow was literally going sideways. And on the drive back from Hot Sulphur Hot Springs to Silverthorne, a drive that normally takes about 45 minutes to an hour, took us 2.5 hours because I literally could not see more than 10 feet in front of me as I was driving my car. And I was driving at about 5-10 miles an hour the whole way. It was probably one of the scariest drives I've ever experienced. So yeah, we get crazy snow here, but on a positive note, that snow brings awesome ski days, awesome snowmobile days. If you're a big snow enthusiast, you're gonna love it. And then we get 300 sunny days a year on average. So that coupled with the dry weather means you can be out on the ski resort in a t-shirt. I actually was just networking the other day over in Grand County, which is about an hour and a half drive from here, and the temperature read 30 degrees, but when I was at the base area after a couple of laps of skiing, I had my jacket pulled off, I was literally sitting in my t-shirt, and I was catching a tan with an ice cold beer in my hand, and it's freaking awesome. So the weather is all over the place, but it makes for an awesome place to live. All right, now to echo my last note about that drive that I did up to Hot Sulphur Hot Springs, that brings me to number 3, which are the road conditions here are crazy treacherous. So I would advise you to have the proper equipment for your car, and that means all-wheel drive, and more so than that, that means having the right tires, either snow tires or studded tires. And if you're driving a rear-wheel drive or a front-wheel drive car, having chains is highly recommended as well. And it doesn't mean you're invincible. I've had multiple times where I am driving along. I can remember a year ago, I was coming up to a stop sign, maybe going about 10-15 miles an hour, not very fast. I went to go hit the brakes. I have studded tires on my truck, by the way, and I slid right through the stop sign about 10 feet. Thank God nobody was there. But even though I have studded tires doesn't mean I'm impervious to black ice. So my advice to you is that if you're driving here for the first time and you're not used to it, just take it easy, take it slow. We have crazy windy mountain roads. And if you're coming from a place like Texas or Florida where they're flat, straight stretches of road, it can be very intimidating here. So just know, snow, ice makes road conditions extremely dangerous. So just take it easy. I would say it's much better to get there safe and slow than to get there dead. Now, the number 4 thing you have to know is that there is a ton of tourism here in Summit County, and it happens year round. If you're not from a big tourist town or a highly visited area, you might not be used to this, but we get people from all over the world coming to visit us all the time. So I'm constantly meeting new faces, generally happy faces because they're on vacation. But at some point, if you're just going about your daily life, it can become a nuisance. We'll end up having standstill traffic on some days, especially when the weather is bad and the roads become super slick. And you've got all these tourists who are not familiar with mountain road conditions, and then they're in rental cars that, generally speaking, do not have snow tires. They're mostly equipped with highway tires, and some aren't even all-wheel drive, so it makes for kind of a pain in the ass sometimes, to be completely honest. But I've had multiple times where tourists are driving around, they go and cut me off, and being from New York, back in the day, I would have been like, you know, flip the bird, piss off, but now I just kind of realize that they're on vacation trying to have a good time, get to their destination, so I give them the benefit of the doubt. Slow down a little bit, let them cut me off, whatever. I live here, not a big deal, but it's something that happens frequently. And you gotta think too, you're a family, right? And you got some kids with you. Kids are not behaving as they usually do, and you are trying to get everything done on your vacation. It could be the one vacation that you have planned for the year, so you're trying to see all of the stuff that Breckenridge has to offer, which is a fuck ton, and you're just in a rush to get everywhere. So me as a local, I've just learned to live with it because mainly those tourists feed our economy out here and they pay my bills. So I'm happy to just slow down, take it easy. And it's just my fellow human, man. They're just trying to have a good time, escape their 9-to-5 rat race work life, whatever they're trying to do. They're trying to have a good time. So give them a little bit of space. It'll be worth it, trust me. The tourism is the effect of all of the amazing activities that we have to do out here, which is my number 5 thing, is that there is an incredible abundance of outdoor activities to do here in Colorado. And the main reason why I moved out here in the first place, I actually didn't learn how to ski until I was about 21 years old. My fiance, who was my girlfriend at the time, taught me how to ski, and we decided to move out to Colorado on a whim. And I basically was ski bumming for about 6 months, and I got really good at skiing, and I'm so glad I actually took that time in my life to do that, because skiing has opened up so many different opportunities for me in my life, and so many opportunities to travel, meet new folk, partly why I got into the career that I'm in now. So yeah, skiing obviously number 1, mountain biking, hiking, off-roading. I'd say one of my favorite activities is snowmobiling, and it is a very steep learning curve if you're trying to do some off-trail mountain type sledding. Originally from the East Coast, and I'm sure a lot of you out in the Midwest know all about snowmobiling on the trails. When you get off the trails, whole different story. Just the other day I was up at Rabbit Ears Pass, which is about an 1.5-hour drive from me, and there was probably 26 inches of fresh snow, give or take, and I had one of the best days on the snow in my entire life. I was literally surfing through the softest, fluffiest, pillow-like powder, and it was so freaking cool. And it just speaks volumes to how many cool outdoor activities there are to do here. But be prepared, if you're gonna start doing those outdoor activities, you're gonna have to bust out the checkbook because it's not cheap. If you're frugal, you could certainly make it cheaper, but generally speaking, it's not gonna be that cheap. A new set of skis with bindings and boots are gonna run you anywhere from $700 to $1,500 and higher. A season pass with Epic or Icon is gonna be $700 to $1,200. If you don't do that, you're looking at a $200 day ticket at most ski resorts. And then, you know, talk summertime, mountain biking and hiking, all that gear that's associated with that. A good mountain bike's gonna be $2,000 to $5,000. A good road bike is gonna be, you know, $1,000 to $2,000, plus all the gear that's associated with it. If you wanna go camping, there's tons of different opportunities in that space, from just regular old tent camping on the cheaper side, or you could do overlanding, which my fiance and I do. We've got a rooftop tent on top of our truck, and we stock the truck with cooler and food and all this other stuff. But I've seen people like make their trucks basically bug out vehicles, or like apocalypse kind of vehicles where you could live off grid for like 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time. So they've got fridges, they've got stoves, they've got tents, they've got heaters, generators, all different kind of electrical components, so they can basically just like be off grid for as long as humanly possible. So yeah, like all these outdoor activities are awesome, but they can be pretty expensive. If you want to be a little more frugal about it, I highly recommend buying some used stuff on Marketplace and trying to do it that way. And you can also do backcountry skiing instead of taking the lift. You just basically hike up to where you want to ski. Much cheaper option, but you're going to pay for it with your legs. So yeah, outdoor activities nonstop. Awesome reason to be here, and definitely one of the main reasons why I moved here. All right, number 6 thing you're gonna have to know is the cost of living here is crazy. And the only reason I am living here is because I got lucky. My fiance and I bought a 1-bed condo back in 2017 when condos were relatively affordable, and we put it on Airbnb, and it makes us pretty good money. So we're able to afford to live out here between the two that we have, and then my sales career and what she does as well. So just know that although we're all right, it's not very easy for a lot of locals out here. Cost of living is crazy expensive. Your typical breakfast burrito is gonna be $10 to $15. Your typical lunch sandwich is gonna be $15 to $20, and an average dinner is gonna be $25 to $30 on the cheap end. We like to cook at home, so my grocery bill is about $250 every week and a half, 2 weeks or something like that. So groceries can be pretty damn expensive. Cost of insurance is crazy out here, specifically because we are high-risk individuals living in the mountains of Colorado. We like to ski, we like to bike, we like to do all these things that are very high risk to insurers. So my fiance and I pay about $350 a month jointly, which is actually really cheap for Colorado. I know people out here, especially those in their 60s and 70s who are even more high risk, they're paying over $1,000 a month for their health insurance. And then if you're looking to buy a place, the average home is $1.2 million. Although you can find condos in the $500,000 to $600,000 range, you're still paying a lot of money for your mortgage, especially with the way interest rates are sitting right now. And then if you're looking to rent a place and not finance something, typical 1-bedroom is gonna run you $1,500 to $2,500 a month. And then it just kind of steps up from there, the more bedrooms and more amenities that you add on to it. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but cost of living here is super expensive. But if you can make it work, it is totally worth it because you get all of this great stuff right out of your back door. All right, number 7. This is kind of a minor thing. If you're maybe a serial entrepreneur or a business owner, or if you have a lot of customers that you're dealing with, could be more of a pain in the ass. And that is our cell service can be very spotty in the mountains. I was actually in Granby the other day for a networking event, and there was really no cell service there at all when I was skiing Granby Ranch, and I maybe came in and out of cell service a couple times throughout the day, maybe had about 1 bar or so, and it's kind of a pain for me because I have customers that are calling me on a daily basis trying to get information, and sometimes I just have to tell them, look, I'm in the mountains, I don't have great service, deal with it. I'm not just gonna stop living my life, and I don't expect you guys to if you plan to move out here. So plan accordingly. Let your people know, let your family know, your friends know, your customers, hey, I'm in the mountains, I've got spotty service. If I'm not able to answer the phone, just wait for me to get back to some kind of connection, either internet or cell service, and I'll get back to you. But just know, as you're driving around Colorado, you will come across points multiple times along your drive where service will just be crap, and it's just something that you gotta live with out here. I can actually think of one time in particular where that was actually terrible. It was a couple years ago when we actually bought this house that I'm currently videoing right now. It was our first summer in the house, and we didn't camp very much because we had tons of projects that we were doing. We were fixing up the house, making it our own. And at the end of the summer, I kind of looked at Stephanie and said, hey, we gotta do a camping trip. I mean, this is why we live here, right? Like, let's just take a break and go. So we went down towards Palisade, Colorado, and as we were going over that way towards McClure Pass and over that way, we pretty much lost service for the whole night while we were camping. And it was a very relaxing day, very relaxing night, lots of fun. It was fall time, so the leaves were changing. We were having a blast. And we got to breakfast the next day and finally got back to service. And when we did, our phone was blowing up. We must have gotten like 30 or 40 text messages, all from neighbors saying that our neighborhood was on fire. Literally, like our mountain in our backyard had caught fire, I think from a hunting fire or something like that, and that fire was starting to pick up speed. The wind was shifting directions, blowing about 50 or 60 miles an hour, and it was starting to creep up towards our house. Thankfully, it snowed that week. It was rainy, it was cold, so the fire wasn't able to spread. But had the conditions been very different, our house could have likely burned down, which is another scary thing about living out here in the wildfire aspect in summer. But yeah, it was like having that cell service would have been crucial because we would have been able to at least get to the house, pack an emergency kit, get all of our valuables together and get somewhere safe. But we didn't have service and kind of just found out as a surprise. So cell service is spotty, be ready for it. All right, last thing on this list is going to be the altitude, and it's arguably one of the most important things because a lot of people don't understand being at 9,000 feet above elevation comes with potential risks. So the one thing that I would say that if you're coming here to vacation and explore and you're on vacation, you want to like toss a couple drinks back, don't do it. Seriously, just wait. Give it a day or 2 days, 3 days, because I've had friends come into town. They're like, yeah, we're on vacation, let's go shred, whatever. They buy a 30 rack of Miller Lite between a bunch of buddies. They're just pounding them back. And then the next day, they have a hangover that lasts 3 or 4 days and their entire vacation is ruined. One drink at this altitude is the equivalent of 3 at sea level, so you get sauced quick. And then on top of that, the altitude has other effects like dehydration, so you want to drink a lot of water. And people tend to lose their appetites at altitude for some reason, but carbs, sugar, food, staying nourished will actually help overcome any altitude symptoms. So definitely eat food, definitely drink water, try to avoid things like caffeine and alcohol because it will make your trip just worse. It really actually takes your body a full 3 months to fully acclimate to the altitude, meaning your body will produce enough red blood cells to consume the thinner oxygen that's up here. So just beware, altitude can affect you pretty heavily. And even on a daily basis for me, it's something that just you have to get used to. Bending down to pick something up and getting up too fast, I'll be a little out of breath. If I go up a set of stairs, I'll be a little out of breath. Even my daily workouts at the rec center, it takes me a little bit longer to warm up and get going. Once I get going, it's just exercise as normal, but the altitude's serious, man. So definitely something to beware of. All right, bonus number 9, we're talking about where to live in Breckenridge. And this is all personal preference, but my fiance and I, when we first moved out here, we lived in Breckenridge right off of the 4 o'clock ski run. That was awesome because we were ski in, ski out. We could walk to the Snowflake chairlift. We could walk downtown, grab a bite to eat at our favorite restaurant, our coffee shop. All the events were happening in downtown Breckenridge. So it was a really cool spot if you're maybe bachelor, young couple, or you don't have a lot of like responsibilities in the kid department and you just like to have a lot of fun. Like Breckenridge is the place to be. It is really great for families as well too. There's a lot of family friendly things to do. So don't think that it's not good for families, but I would say Breckenridge is just louder, right? There's more tourists, there's more things happening, there's more traffic, there's all that stuff. So if you're like into that, if you like being surrounded by people And things to do, Breckenridge is gonna be great. If you want a slightly lesser version of that, come over to Frisco. If you want more of the local feel, where most of the locals in the county live, come over to Silverthorne Dillon. I'm in Silverthorne right now. We chose this spot because we have a flat acre. We're looking at the Gore Mountain Range. We have this really cute little house, and we really love it because it feels like we live in the middle of the woods, but we're a 2-block walk to downtown Silverthorne for our favorite coffee shop. And then if you want like the most family-friendly area, I highly recommend checking out Keystone. Keystone has the most family-friendly ski resort in Colorado and consistently ranked as one of the most family-friendly ski resorts in the world. So Keystone's great for that. Also a more quiet feel than Breckenridge or Frisco. All right, guys, there you have it. Those are the 8 things that you have to know before living out here. I want to know, what do you guys think? What's your favorite thing? What is your least favorite thing? Comment down below. And if you want to know where to live here in Summit County, Colorado, give me a ring. This is my personal cell number here. Text me, call me, and we can make it happen. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.